Hi, everybody. Sherri Leopold here with another episode of Woman of Worth 2022. I am with one of my favorite people on this planet, and she is definitely worthy of the Woman of Worth Award for 2022. Welcome, TERESA CUNDIFF.
Oh, thank you so much, Sherri. I just love and adore you so much. I appreciate this honor, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. And you do so many things, and I can't wait for people to learn a little bit more about what you do. But first of all, since you are a Woman of Worth Award winner, I'd like for you to speak, if you would, a little bit about what Woman of Worth means to you. What do you think of when you hear those words?
Well, sometimes it's nice to hear that someone feels that way about you, feels that you are worthy, because oftentimes we women don't feel as if we are worthy. We don't think enough of ourselves to feel that we have value and that we have worth. So I appreciate you so much bestowing this honor upon me as a woman of worth. But it's someone who keeps her word and she keeps her promises. And she is someone who is thought of highly by others because she does what she says she is going to do. And she is a friend to others. And she is a woman of integrity. That is a woman of worth to me.
Absolutely. And that completely is you to a T, and definitely integrity filled, a fabulous friend, and definitely a servant of others. So I definitely appreciate those qualities in you. So I do want you to share, TERESA. You wear a few hats, and so I'd love for you to share a little bit about what you do and how you serve others. I know some of it's super fun, some of it's a job, but you just share whatever you want our audience to know about how you serve.
Well, I serve in a few. Yes, I do wear a few hats. I have what I call a day job. I am an independent contractor for the DoD, so that's my day job. And I also have a TV talk show, a digital streaming show on Legrity TV, and it's called Teresa Talks. And I have inspiring conversations with authors, published and unpublished. And that's kind of a phrase that I've coined. And it just means an unpublished author is someone who just hasn't gotten their book out of their head and onto the page. Because I feel like everyone has a book inside of them and a story inside of them that they want to tell. And it kind of gives me license to talk to the people that I want to, that I already know in life, that are brilliant people and have a story to tell and they just haven't gotten it out there. So when I talk to an unpublished author, it's someone that I know pretty well. It would be weird for me to talk to an unpublished author that I don't know very well, because I wouldn't know very much about them. And I wouldn't already know that they are a brilliant person who has a story to tell. So that's my talk show. It's found on Legrity. I'm in my 4th season now, runs on the quarter. So I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary. Fun fact about Teresa Talks, Miss Sherri Leopold was my first guest on Teresa Talks last June. So that's a claim to fame for her. And for me, it was such a momentous occasion. And I was so honored that Sherri came on to be my first guest on Teresa Talks. And talking about books, I am also a published author. I now have 9 books to my name. They're all collaboration books, and that means I have a chapter in 9 books that are #1 best-selling best-selling books on Amazon. Some are international, and 2 of those books are placed in the Library of Congress. And so that is exciting for me, because that to me is a claim to fame, because not all books get in the Library of Congress that even apply. And of course, not all books even apply to be in the Library of Congress. So I'm excited that I'm in 2 books that are in the Library of Congress. And I'm a wife of 33 years, and I have 2 adult sons and 1 daughter-in-law who's expecting our grandson next month. So that's what I have going on for now.
And that's a lot. And it's so awesome. And I know I have to point out this because you're also a professional proofreader, which you didn't say
Um,
that, but I
I
have to say it
forgot
because
about that.
yeah, I know your love of books. Obviously, you have the two linked together, right? You are in love with words, and I think it's something that you're actually really excel at as well. But that gives you a lot of joy. So if somebody was going to use a proofreading service, who would that be?
It would be me.
No,
Uh,
I mean, what kind of person would ask for those services?
Oh, well, of course, the proofreader is the last person that sees the manuscript. So it goes through the first person that gets a manuscript is a developmental editor, and that person puts the chunks of the book in the proper order. And there are several other editor types of people that will see a manuscript before it ever gets to the proofreader, who is the last person that sees the manuscript before it goes to the printer. So it's anyone who has anything that needs to be proofed. And believe me when I tell you, you cannot proof your own copy. You cannot do it. You're too familiar with the material and you'll read over it. I can't proof my own copy. And when I do it, I read it backwards because I'm too familiar with it. So, and I have to take extra care to do it. But it's people who are writing novels, who are writing, of course, nonfiction. If you're writing a blog or you're writing a newsletter or you're writing pages on a website, anything that is written that is text, it needs to be proofed before you put it out there for the masses, because there's people like me, professional or not, because I was proofreading stuff long before I ever took my courses and got certified, because we understand grammar and sentence structure. And we know when there's an independent clause and a dependent clause and it's not properly punctuated. My tagline for my proofreading business is, I know where the commas go. And I do. And most people don't. The commas don't go where you naturally pause in speaking. There are actually rules about where commas go when you're writing sentences. So you comma splice or you run on sentence. So pay attention,
I
boys and
love this because
girls.
everybody just learned that there is like this is a real thing and that you should have somebody read it. I just love that you said you read your own backwards. It's
Well,
true. You'll read right over the errors when it's yours because you know what it's supposed to
mhm.
say,
That's
including
exactly
spelling
true.
errors, grammatical errors, all of that as well. So what a highly valuable service and really necessary in business, certainly
Yes.
of any kind or book writing, both.
Mm.
So anyway, I just wanted to point that I couldn't let that go by because it's such an important service that you do provide, and you are certified. And some people probably didn't even know that there was a certification for that, but there
Mhm.
is. And
Yeah.
Teresa CUNDIFF has it. So I want to ask you, Teresa, since we are honoring Women's History Month and we are talking about women in history, we are talking to women who are writing their own history, and that is definitely you. We could end up anywhere we want in life, but the woman of worth is actually writing her own history. She is creating the path that she is on, and she is creating the legacy that she's leaving behind. That being said, is there somebody that you would like to acknowledge or somebody in your journey along the way that was a strong woman who influenced you in your journey?
That is very hard or difficult to put a pin in. I am a military spouse, and I think that not every woman, I know this to be true, not every woman is cut out to be a military spouse, because you have to be able to keep the home front going in the event that your spouse deploys. And that means you have to get the groceries in the house, you have to pay the bills. The kids have to have very little disruption in their schedule. And you have to keep a smile on your face, and you can't crumble and fall apart because you miss daddy too. And the husband has to know while he's away that um, that things are taken care of at home, because he's the war fighter, and he has to have confidence that the wife is okay back at home, so he can move forward and do his job and keep himself and his soldiers alive. So it's so much goes on. And so I think that as a military spouse, um, I I admire and I appreciate the military spouses that send their husbands, and I can only really speak from the female perspective, send their husbands off to war, and keep everything pulled together back at home, because it takes a woman with intestinal fortitude, a strong constitution, a strong backbone to keep it all pulled together. Because oftentimes, most of the times, you're not near family. We've never lived near family. The closest family we've ever lived near was 3 hours away. So I'll say I admire my mother-in-law, because when my husband was gone to the Gulf War, and there were so many unknowns about that, I kept thinking about my mother-in-law, who sent her husband to Vietnam, and she had 3 little boys. He came back from Vietnam and was only home for 1 year, and they knew he was going back to Vietnam for another year. And she, still had those 3 little boys. And I just kept thinking, she made it through, I can make it through. And so she would be one person that I definitely had a great deal of admiration for at that particular point in time. So I have the military spouse is a group of women that I have a great deal of admiration for.
Absolutely. And a very tough position to be in, sort of forces you to be strong, or maybe just helps that strength rise up. I don't know which it would be. Maybe it comes in different directions depending on who you are, but I agree. I think it's an incredible group of women to salute and to be inspired by. And I commend you for standing in that role as well and doing it very well, because your children are awesome. So congratulations on that part. And I know there's a
Thank you.
new baby coming. Oh, anyway, grandma's going to be a new hat you're going to be wearing. So that's awesome as
Yes,
well.
I'm going to be Mimi.
Yay. I love it. It's so awesome. It is a great thing. And okay, so I also want to ask you, as you have go down through your life and you've gone on this great journey, if we were to fast forward 100 years from now, Teresa, what is it that somebody's going to say about Teresa Cundiff? Something that you're going to be known for, or whatever that you have done, the legacy that you've created will go on when you are long gone.
Well, the thing that I am most proud of, and that I frequently say, is that when I started having children, the decision always was, and it was a mutual decision, that I would stay home and raise the boys. And of course, when you move every 2 years, it's difficult to land a job when the employer knows you're a mill spouse, as we say, and you're going to be moving on. They don't want to invest time in you and the resources that it takes to train you up for position for you just to be leaving them. And then, of course, on top of that, if you work somewhere, the wage that you would make, and then to have to pay for daycare and so on and so forth. So I stayed at home and raised my boys. And then when they were a little bit older and went to school, and I would start working a little bit, I would always work within the confines of the school day, so I could put them on the bus and get them off the bus. So they never felt my absence in the home, as in they were never at before and after, school daycare. And so my greatest pride is raising my sons, together with my husband, of course, to be outstanding citizens. And so with that, my legacy is that they will raise their children along with their wives to be outstanding citizens. And so I want my legacy to be that great, I guess 100 years, that great Mimi raised a family of outstanding citizens that contributed to society, that were wonderful people, great friends, wonderful neighbors, because it's all about relationships that you leave behind and the connections that you make. So maybe you can make a lot of money and be philanthropic with your finances, but that still all comes from the character that you instill in your children and that they instill in their children. So it all boils down to character in the end. And I would want that to be my legacy of raising wonderful children who raise wonderful children.
And I think that is absolutely what is happening right now. And it's so fun when that next generation is being born, because you're going to see that legacy pass on, and you knowing what it is, you're going to see it develop before your eyes. And what a joy that is. So I know people are going to be inspired by you, Teresa. I absolutely adore you. So I know they're going to want to connect with you. Can you share with our viewers where they can connect with you?
Of course, you're ticking my website now, TeresaTalksTV.com. You can go there and you can see all my episodes of Teresa Talks. They're listed there. You can also email me at TeresaTalksTV.com. If you feel so inclined to drop me a note, I would love to hear from anyone who is watching and wants to reach out and say, hey, that would be fabulous. So that's how you get in touch with me.
Now, is there a contact button there if they want to inquire about your proofreading services as well?
Sure. When you go to the website, it's immediately going to pop up with an opportunity for you to give me your email. And on that pop up right there, you can also send me a note and you can inquire there with the proofreading.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Because
Sure.
if anyone didn't know, Teresa knows where the commas go.
You got that right,
I want to make sure that they know that.
Call upon me. I will fix your comma splices and your run-on sentences.
That's right. And what a great friend to have. Thank you so much, Teresa CUNDIFF. Congratulations on being a woman of worth for 2022. You are so deserving. You're one of the strongest human beings I think I know. And I'm so proud to call you not just a woman of worth award winner for 2022, but I'm proud to call you friend.
Oh, Sherri, thank you so much. I appreciate the honor. And I am super proud to call you my friend and a mentor as well. And thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm so grateful.
Thank you.